Good afternoon and welcome to Vanguard News. I'm Lauren Hunter.
And I'm August Lynch. Here are today's top stories.
The LA Fitness in Sugar Hill has been more than just a spot to lift weights. Lately, the gym's parking lot has been a gold mine for thieves to steal credit cards and mobile devices out of people's cars. Reporter August Lynch was there to report a new discovery in the case.
The Sugar Hills LA Fitness is off of Cumming Highway has been faced with several theft issues. Several break-ins have happened in different parts of the parking lot here, and while it's connected to the Kroger, it seems that LA Fitness customers are being specifically targeted for their valuables. Visible security cameras and signs are posted along the building to remind customers to take their belongings with them and to make sure everything else remains unseen to anyone walking by.
You know what, I haven't heard of him personally, but I just moved from Atlanta up here to Sugar Hill area. You know, obviously safety is important, and I think it'd be key to you know, contact local authorities, make sure the cameras work, anything to ensure the safety of the patrons, the ones that are especially paying monthly here, to make sure that, hey, you know, it's a safe place to work out. You don't have to worry about your car getting smashed into.
As the summer waned, so did people's belongings from their cars. On September 26, a woman noticed her purse was stolen from her car in broad daylight. Recently, Gwinnett County Police identified a man who's wanted in Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee who allegedly stole credit cards and charged nearly $1,700 on them. Last month, police were able to identify the suspect to be Joseph Proctor, a man who's still on the run and drives a 2007 maroon Dodge Durango. As for the other cases of break-ins and theft, police are not sure if it's one person or if they have accomplices, but with a public posting of an identified suspect, they are sure that the LA Fitness here can focus less on warding off criminals and focus more on working out. I'm August Lynch, Vanguard News. Citizens are rushing to the polls this midterm election. All across the country, we have seen record-breaking numbers of early voters. Election Day is expected to see even more patrons at the polls. Here's Sarah Underwood with the story.
The midterm elections are quickly approaching, and residents have been taking advantage of early voting at the new Forsyth County Voter Registration and Elections Office. The building is not just for voters, but it also stores all of the voting equipment used for Election Day. All of the voting machines, or DREs, are tested here at the facility and go through major testing before ever being placed at a polling precinct.
We have to test every machine that goes to the polls. We actually do voting on it and an automatic testing on it to make sure that all of it comes out right. And if the machine doesn't come out right for any reason, like it needs a new battery, we don't send it. We have to pack all of the supplies that go to the polls. We have to test all the equipment. We have to make sure all the equipment's working, the e-polls, the DREs, and pack all the supplies for, it's like setting up an office at a poll.
With great effort from the volunteers and staff at the Registration and Elections Office, voting has gone pretty seamlessly here in Forsyth County, and they have not encountered any trouble with casted ballots. So far, over 5,000 people have sent in absentee ballots for the midterms, and many more have participated in advance voting.
So we have surpassed the amount of advance voters that we had in 2014. Which has really surprised us, but we're glad. Yeah, that's it. What happens is usually the presidential election is big, and then the gubernatorial's not as big, but this one has really brought the people out, and we're glad. And I think it's gonna continue on to Election Day. I think we'll have a lot of people coming out Election Day.
The first 2 weeks of early voting, the office saw on average 1,400 voters a day, while in the last 3 days, they have seen approximately 6,000 voters per day. Although the elections office was open for advance voting, it will not be open on November 6th. There are 15 precincts throughout Forsyth County to handle Election Day voting. To register or to gather any information about voting, visit mvp.sos.ga.gov. I'm Sarah Underwood, Vanguard News.
Every fall, the city of Dawsonville holds a special festival that highlights the essential elements of the town, moonshine and race cars. Our reporter Erica Blanton covered the festival this past weekend. Let's check it out.
The city of Dawsonville held its 51st annual Moonshine Festival this weekend. The festival hosted a plethora of food vendors, along with many fun, traditional, and especially interesting booths. And the festival even had carnival games just for about everyone.
I'm gonna let you have those first two, okay? All you gotta do is make the last three. All right?
This year, it seemed like a lot of people were having fun, especially dancing to the live music. The vendors may change from year to year, but one thing that stays constant is the prized car show. This year, cars were scattered throughout the festival, from hot rods, classics, to racing cars. This is Erica Blanton with Vanguard News.
Class registration recently opened for students here at the University of North Georgia. Our reporter Lauren Hunter went out and spoke to students on the Gainesville campus to get their reaction to going through the process.
So I've had a pretty easy time applying for classes, although when I apply for classes, I'm always up at the exact minute that my application time starts, and I already have everything prepared beforehand. So that's always a very advantageous thing to do, is to have everything prepared beforehand and get up exactly the time that it starts, so you can guarantee that you get the classes that you want.
So as a note taker, we have priority registration. So whenever my portal opened up to register for my classes, it kept on crashing. Whenever I had this issue, I contacted my advisor and she was able to help me straighten everything out.
Okay, so registering for classes is pretty easy once you meet up with your advisor. They let you know what classes you can take and what classes you should take towards your degree. But yeah, it's kind of stressful once the registration's open, because classes get full pretty quick. So you have to be aware of that once you register.
With registration, I think my biggest issues was when I was a sophomore or a freshman, and that was solely because whenever I wanted to register for a class, there was a lot of times that there are professors that are a little bit more challenging, and you just kind of get backed up with 5 professors that are all really challenging, and it's kind of hard to balance that workload versus whenever you're a junior or a senior and you have early registration, and you can kind of just get and pick and choose the classes that you need. And everything's just much more fluid whenever you're a junior and senior versus when you're a freshman or a sophomore.
Registering for classes is difficult because they're only offered certain times on either fall or spring semester, and between that there's also only a certain type of class offered, and you have to take it in a order, and sometimes you can't get into the class that you need.
On Thursday, October 25th, the University of North Georgia's art department hosted its Southern Printmaking Biennial Art Show. The show featured works at a national and international level and was open to all UNG students and faculty. Here is reporter Lauren Hunter with more info.
The University of North Georgia Art Department hosted the Southern Printmaking Biennial Reception on the Dahlonega campus last Thursday. This event took place in the Bob Owens Art Gallery and was open to all students and faculty. I spoke to UNG professor Vivian Liddell, who told me about the process for installing the show.
A number of factors go into hanging a show. You have to consider the artist request, the curator's request, also accessibility. So there's the Americans with Disabilities Act actually has standard hanging heights, like a range that you're supposed to hang the works from the floor, and also how close together pedestals can be and that kind of thing. So that's our number one priority, is make sure that the show is accessible to everybody, and then that the artist requests, the curator's requests are being met, and then of course that the show looks good.
Printmaking is defined as the process of making pieces of art by printing. Normally these pieces are done on paper, however, as you can see by the various pieces at this show, the art can be on different mediums. Many consider printmaking works to be unique because of their element of originality. The event was organized by printmaking professor Michael Marling, and he gave viewers more details during a brief speech.
The reason that I instituted this exhibition was for you guys, to be able to have a look at the best printmaking nationally and internationally. So there's all types of printmaking process, you know, from 3D works, experimental, traditional etchings, woodcuts, lithography, and experimental printmaking, as we can see with the concrete that we have here in relief.
This year's show featured artists and works from around the country. The pieces were selected from the previous show's winner, who acted as juror. The juror selected Wes Beeler from Elgin, Illinois, as the best in show, and as this year's winner, he will have the opportunity to select the pieces for the next show in 2 years. Due to the delicacy of many of the pieces, Professor Liddell mentioned that setting up the show took longer than she anticipated.
This show, normally we have a week to hang shows. This show took longer than a week. There are a lot of works, and so it really depends on the number of works, and also sometimes the artist helps hang shows. If it's an installation, for example, then the artist would be here, and I also have a student worker who assists me. So it depends on the show. It should never take longer than a week. This one actually took a little bit longer.
Because this event takes place biennially, the next one will not happen until 2020. Reporting for Vanguard News, I'm Lauren Hunter. In case you missed the UNG Talent Show auditions last week, you can still come out to see UNG's Got Talent on Thursday, November 15th in the Robinson Ballroom from 6 to 9 p.m.
The club that organizes the UNG's talent show is the Black Student Union. I sat down with the club's president for more information about the auditions turnout this year.
There was actually quite a lot of talent this year compared to last year's numbers. I was actually quite impressed and quite surprised because we got more than just your normal singing and dancing. We got some comedians, we got some woodwind violin, it actually was a violin. We got just some really I don't want to say out of place things, but like we have a yo-yo, somebody that does the yo-yo. He had a friend that juggles, so it was really different to your average, I guess, talent show where people just kind of sing and dance. But overall, we have.
For those interested in trying out next year, students will get a better sense of what the club is looking for in terms of talent from more than just the Gainesville campus.
The auditions for this year's UNG's Got Talent talent show, it's technically open, I guess, to all campuses because it is an after school hours event. However, we don't promote it as heavy for other campuses. We kind of just promote it here on the Gainesville campus because this is where it is happening. But I guess technically speaking, overall, the way we advertise slightly, it is open to other campuses as well.
Like all events promoted at UNG, all are welcome to attend. For future events like UNG's Got Talent, visit UNG's website to see what is in store for you.
So we probably didn't promote as hard as we could have, but a lot of people that did audition said that they looked at the bulletin boards, they saw it on the table toppers in the cafeteria, and then just sometimes they'll look at a lot of our stuff is seen off of the Oval Office Times in the bathrooms.
This is August Lynch, Vanguard News.
A
small city called Sugar Hill in Gwinnett County has been resting between Flowery Branch and Beaufort since 1939. Within the last few years, the city has been awakened with a growing population and lots of downtown construction. Yet the most investment in downtown development the city has ever seen is in this next story that I reported about the city's newest additions. The downtown Sugar Hill area is booming with development. The city is constructing a bigger work, play, and live environment than all of its neighboring communities. Sugar Hill is certainly growing in every aspect of the word by how many projects have been breaking ground ever since the new City Hall was built 5 years ago.
When I moved here 7 years ago, the City Hall back here was just being finished and they were starting to move out of the old City Hall. So all of the changes have been quite interesting to watch.
Subsequently, an outdoor auditorium called The Bowl was built along with a pond and a paved walking trail. During the colder months, a covered ice skating rink is open for the public.
Yeah, we've always enjoyed the fountains and the ice skating rink, and we, like I said, we're only half a mile away, so we walk up a lot and get maybe a candy from the racetrack or the pit stop, and then eat by the fountains and have fun. And so we were excited when this comes up because that gives us something to do in the wintertime with the gym and stuff too. So that'll be awesome.
The most recent development has been the Entertainment Center, coined as the Epicenter, which will include an indoor gymnasium, local theater, and a whole lot of space for restaurants and retail. Everything is walking distance from each other. A bridge has also been built to connect the East Center with the city's existing parking deck next to City Hall.
We're pretty excited. This is the first time we've taken the time to walk around, like to see all of the fountains and everything that's going up and the restaurants and everything, so we're eager for it to open.
So now that the theater across the street is officially open to the public, the next thing on the Sugar Hills Development Authority's list is to demolish the preschool behind me, which was known as the Bice Center, and that should be demolished in the next few months. The Bice Center has been vacant for nearly 3 years. It is still scheduled to be demolished before next spring. However, the city has prioritized the section where a major highway has a clear back view of the East Center. So there's not much activity going on now, but come spring 2019, the Epicenter, which is right behind me, is going to be experiencing a lot more bustling customers to enjoy some yummy food, take in some shopping, and then the theater right next door just opened, so there's going to be a lot more traffic through here. This is August Lynch, Vanguard News.
You may not enjoy the trip to renew your license, but have no fear, the long waits at the Georgia Department of Driver Services in Gainesville are almost over. Come October 2019, there will be a new building which will provide the department with an ample amount of space with room to grow. Governor Nathan Deal made an appearance at the groundbreaking event on Wednesday. Here's Joy Holmes with the story.
The Department of Driver Services is expecting to upgrade their facility with a build that will be completed by October 2019. Now, this new facility will upgrade their 3,800 square foot facility to a new building that is over 10,000 square feet, which will be located on the same grounds of the existing building. Now, during the build, the facility that's there now will operate as normal, but people can expect to see some progress very soon. With a growth of more than 30,000 customers in the last 7 years, the new building was a long time coming, state officials said at the groundbreaking ceremony. And if there was one word we heard a lot of, it was efficiency. Spencer Moore, the commissioner of the Georgia Department of Driver Services, said that the new build will add up to 7 more service counters and will provide an additional 5 commercial driver's license tests daily.
We will also add a third carousel, which is the testing pad for those truck drivers who need to come out and get tested. We know this is a high demand career field. This will give us the opportunity to get those drivers tested and on the road so they can help serve the community.
Governor Nathan Deal said that Georgia has grown from the 10th largest state to the 8th and has accumulated more than 700,000 new residents. Because of the growth, it has been his mission to focus on skill sets so that more jobs would be attainable. The first identified, he said, was the lack of CDLs. But with neighboring schools such as Lanier Tech, this new expansion is significant to the state.
And one of the programs that they will be teaching is CDL ability to drive those large tractor trailers. But they need to get a license. You can train them, but you can't have the right to drive on our roads till you get the license. So to have this facility so close to that major training facility is a great compliment, I think, to trying to achieve what we want to have.
The total budget for the project is $3.2 million, and according to John Haynes, the division manager with Carroll Daniel Construction, will take a year from design to completion. In Gainesville, I'm Joy Holmes, WDUN.
Healthcare has always been a topic of discussion in the state of Georgia and one of the focuses during Governor Nathan Deal's time in office. The Northeast Georgia Regional Trauma System hosted the 3rd Annual Regional Trauma Symposium to honor his efforts in funding and growth in the trauma field and educate healthcare professionals on the importance of time and accuracy when handling traumatic injury. Here's Joy Holmes with details.
First Baptist Church in Gainesville hosted the 3rd Annual Regional Trauma Symposium, where over 600 people attended the event. There were several guest speakers. Among some of them were some healthcare professionals and also some state officials. We ran into Governor Nathan Deal for the 2nd time this week, and the event was just meant to highlight the importance of traumatic healthcare services in the state of Georgia. While the event was hosted at First Baptist, it was hosted by the Northeast Georgia Regional Trauma System. The all-day event taught the hundreds of attendees more about trauma response and the importance of the golden hour rule, which suggests that responders have an hour to successfully treat traumatic injuries. Governor Nathan Deal attended the event to accept the Nathan Deal Governor's Award for Trauma Excellence. He was joined by First Lady Sandra Deal and Senator Butch Miller. Deal was recognized because of his advocacy of the Stop the Bleed initiative, a program launched due to the active shootings at schools nationwide. Stop the Bleed provides schools with special training and kits to do just that, stop the bleed.
It's very simple. You don't have to have any medical training. It takes a very short time to learn, but it can save a life. It can stop the bleeding long enough to get to a trauma center or wherever the patient needs to go for care.
Chad Black, the chairman of the Regional Trauma Advisory Committee and director of emergency services for Habersham County, said that Georgia is one of the leading states in trauma care, and because of Deal, the state has been able to accomplish a lot.
It was almost emotional for me, because of what we've been able to do with his generosity and the funding he gave us. I mean, if you think about every school in the state of Georgia almost trained, the kits are there in the case the uneventful happens.
The symposium highlighted one survivor's story that showed how the trauma system works. Because of the quick actions of the Union General Emergency Medical Services, an injured sheriff's deputy was taken to the Union General Hospital to be airlifted to Shepherd Spinal Center after he wrapped his vehicle around a tree. Deputy Mitchell Anderson was there to share his story alongside his family. The event featured several vendors throughout the lobby. One vendor gaining a lot of attention was ProCare, a booth that showcased prosthetics, one of them being a robotic hand. Stephen Schulte, one of the founders of ProCare, said that the company works with a lot of veterans. People in uniform could be seen at the booth throughout the day, and of the 600 guests, 30 of them were military medics who are mobilized for deployment for Afghanistan in December. For Access WDUN, I'm Joy Holmes.
The Arco Chamber Orchestra performed on October 9th at the Hodgson Concert Hall in Athens and played several pieces from different Russian composers. Marina Montero went to the concert and interviewed the concertmaster.
The Arco Chamber Orchestra performs their first concert of the season tonight at 7:30 at the Hodgson Hall in Athens. They will perform pieces from several Russian composers. The Arco Chamber Orchestra was founded in Russia in 1989 at the Moscow Tchaikovsky Conservatory by violinist, artistic director, and conductor Levon Bartsumian. When Bartsumian joined the UGA School of Music faculty in 1995, he brought the orchestra from the Tchaikovsky Conservatory in Russia to the Hugh Hodson School of Music in Athens, Georgia, and remained as artistic director and conductor. Arco is composed by UGA's faculty and music students, and it became an amazing blend of many talented musicians from different parts of the globe. And Bartsumian talked to us during the intermission and explained a little bit about the program. The first piece performed was the Gran Sestetto Originale in E-flat major, arrangement for piano and orchestra by Mikhail Glinka, the first professional Russian composer.
The soloist was my friend Evgeny Rivkin, a very famous pianist, also professor of the University of Georgia. So it was like virtuosic and romantic work, which is unfortunate not very often performed. So I was thinking that I would need to bring this piece to attention of our Athens public.
After the intermission, the orchestra performed two other pieces: Pictures at an Exhibition by Moritz Mussorgsky and Variations on a Theme by Tchaikovsky by Anton Arensky. Pictures at an Exhibition is known for having several transcriptions and arrangements.
Our arrangement has been made by a friend of mine, a young Russian composer who I played many times, his works, but this is an American premiere of this work. He arranged these pictures for chamber orchestra, and we are presenting this to our public.
For more information regarding the orchestra, future concerts, and ticket information, go to pac.uga.edu. Marina Montero, Vanguard News.
The UGA Opera Theater performed their Experience Bel Canto concert on October 18th and 19th at the Hodgson Concert Hall. The concert contained several arias, duets, quartets, and quintets from the most famous Italian opera composers. Reporter Marina Montero went to the rehearsal a few days before the concert and spoke with the singers and the opera director, the Opera Theater, and more.
The UGA Opera Theater, after rehearsing since the beginning of the semester, is going to be performing at Hodgson Concert Hall on Thursday and Friday, October 18th and 19th. The gala concert will be a collaboration between the UGA Opera Theater, the UGA Symphony Orchestra conducted by Mark Sedell, and the Hodgson Singers, along with 12 soloists. Last year, the Opera Theater did a similar concert with music by Giuseppe Verdi. This year, the director of opera, Frederick Birchenau, and the principal opera coach, Catherine Wright, chose a program that will have highlights from 10 different Italian operas by the most famous composers of bel canto, which includes Donizetti, Rossini, and Bellini.
We wanted to try to present another era, another type of music completely. This is music that was written before Verdi, and it's written in the particular style of bel canto singing, which is very unique and is somewhat lost today. We're trying to bring it back as much as we can, and we're trying to honor the fact that bel canto singing is just what it's supposed to be, beautiful singing.
The singers were all very excited about the concert, and they will be performing different arias, duets, quartets, and quintets.
I'll be in 3 different selections. One is a duet from Don Pasquale, Cheti Cheti Mantinenti, and then I'm singing Largo alla Factotum from Il Barbiere di Siviglia, a famous baritone aria, and then the very final number for the first half of the concert is the famous quintet from Il Barbiere di Siviglia. I'll be singing Figaro in that as well. Opera is not something to be feared, it's something to be cherished and enjoyed. So I hope people either have the chance to come to this performance, or if in the future they have the chance to see an opera performance either as a gala or as a live on stage production. I hope they take the opportunity.
I'm going to be singing scenes from Don Pasquale, from Lucia di Lammermoor, from L'Elysir, and the roles that I'm going to be performing are Norina, Adina, and Lucia.
We'll be singing the famous aria Casta Diva and also the famous duet Miro Norma. I feel really lucky to be singing this. It's a big sing and it has taken me a long time to get here. I really love the music. It's one of the big staples in soprano repertoire, so it's something that every soprano kind of dreams about, so I'm very excited that this dream is coming true.
Well, I'm singing a wide variety of repertoire. I'm singing numbers from The Barber of Seville, from Bellini's I Puritani, Donizetti's The Elixir of Love, and Donizetti's Lucia di Lammermoor.
Enjoy. It'll be a concert of beautiful singing. So that's what bel canto means, beautiful singing. So you can look forward to that.
For more information about the concert and tickets, go to pac.uga.edu. And if you love opera but cannot attend, don't worry. The concert will be live streamed on the Hugh Hodson School of Music's website at music.uga.edu/live-streaming.
UNG played host to Florida State University in softball on Sunday. The game marked the final game of the Nighthawks fall season, but more importantly, an opportunity to showcase their talent against the reigning Division I national champions. Our reporter Jake Cantrell went to their final practice before the game to talk with head coach Mike Davenport about the opportunity for his team.
After falling just short of earning the program's second national championship last season, UNG's softball team is back to work.
For us, for the fall, we really use it as an opportunity to kind of challenge our kids. So the better level of competition we can play in the fall kind of prepares us for the spring.
So the team is taking on the highest level of competition possible.
And on the 10th try, the Florida State Seminoles have won their first national championship.
The defending national champions at the Division I level.
You know what Florida State's done for the game of softball and for them winning the national title last year. It's just a great opportunity for us to bring them into our facility here into Dahlonega as well, and just to hopefully help grow the game of softball here with us, and the Division II and the Division I levels kind of crossing over in the fall.
But while dethroning the defending national champs in front of a home crowd sounds nice, Coach Davenport isn't concerned with the outcome.
I don't really worry about the score as much as how we play, and as long as we're getting better every week in and week out, and we want to get through some success through failure. So there's going to be opportunities in the fall that we do want our kids to fail, because we want to grow through failure a little bit. So we're going to challenge our kids, and that's one reason you bring in programs like Florida State to play in the fall.
Jake Cantrell, Vanguard News.
The scrimmage ensued on Sunday at noon, and while the game was not officially scored, there was definitely a competitive spirit between the two teams.
The NCAA Division I softball national champions, Florida State University, came to Haynes and Carolyn Hill Stadium in Dahlonega to face off against the UNG softball team in a scrimmage to close out the fall season for both teams. The game was not officially scored, but for the most part, the Nighthawks appeared to be right at home competing with the very best.
I thought at times we played very well. Basically, you're trying to break it down into innings when you're playing games like this, and I thought just trying to win innings was our biggest thing, and I thought our kids had some pretty good at bats through the first 5 or 6 innings of the ball game. When we got things going, we started to click a little bit and started to play our style of softball.
The game was designed to be a learning experience for the Nighthawks, and head coach Mike Davenport feels that his team will be better for it in the long run.
And that's one reason we play teams like Florida State and some of the bigger schools in the fall, is to make sure we do get exposed. And we got exposed today, especially on the defensive side of things, and some of our at-bats as well against their quality pitching. But I think one reason we do that is to make our kids understand what the level of competition is going to be like in the spring once we get going.
As for the players, the focus was just about making the most of this exciting opportunity.
I think we're all kind of whoa, that's crazy, but then we all got super excited, Florida State, wait, let's play, come on, So I think it was just good competition, we're excited.
It's always fun to, play new faces and get challenged in different situations that we're not always used to. Get pushed and made better by new teams, so I think we learned a lot today, and it was fun to see some new faces and see some girls that we actually grew up playing with.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty nervous when I went in, so I know everybody else was, but I think overall, through the majority of the game, I think we played fine and we gave it our best.
I think we'll learn a lot from today, and we'll take it with us into the spring.
And with the fall season ending, the excitement begins to mount for what should be another successful spring for the Nighthawks.
I'm really excited. I think we have pretty good team chemistry, and I really want to make it back to the World Series, so I'm excited about that, and I think we'll have a good run.
I'm excited. I feel like our team's really clicked so far this year. We have a lot of fun, a lot of talent. We just got to take it and put each other together in the right places, and we'll be good to go.
Jake Cantrell, Vanguard News.
And those are today's top stories. I'm Lauren Hunter.
I'm August Lynch. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next week.